You can start by like just saying who you are.
Okay.
I mean, I know who you are, but
I am Charles Thompson, um, a former co-owner of Friar Tuck's and 4400 Campus Club and Mr. T's Tacos.
and you're also my dad.
Yes, and I'm also Bella's dad. 86, we bought 4400 Club, and then I guess it was 96 when we sold them. I was 19 when my brother and I bought Friar Tuck, so I moved to Ghent when I was 19. That was my first time living in Norfolk. And I lived in Norfolk until 37, which would make it 18 years I lived in Norfolk. 10 of those I owned the bars, and then I worked as one of the managers for the new owners. That was part of the sale agreement that I would stay on and help with the transition with the new owners. And I worked 1 or 2 days a week there for 3 or 4 more years after that. Before the Ted Constant Convocation Center, we were eminent domain, and the new owners were forced to sell. We would have never sold if we didn't know what was coming, and they knew it was coming. So it cost us we sold the business for about 70 cents on the dollar, about 70% of its real market value. And they took it, and their intention was to make enough profit over the course of the 5 years, which was anticipated how long it would take for them to take the businesses, that they'd make enough money that along with the settlement that they got from the city would be enough to make it worth their time. And it was. They actually took it, they actually eminent domain the businesses in 3 years, and they still made their money because it was extraordinarily profitable businesses. When we first took over Friar Tuck's, the Friar Tuck's was run by fraternities. There would be 20 or 30 fights in the bar, and because I was too young to bartend, I was 19. Even though I was an owner, I had to work the door. And it was a scary job. It really was, because there was a lot of fights. But we cleaned up the atmosphere. We stopped, we stopped showing favoritism towards customers. Everybody was allowed in. Anybody who fought for any reason was ejected, whether they started it or not. If you fight in the bar, you get ejected. If someone tries to pick a fight with you, then you get a bouncer, and then that person gets ejected. But you don't fight in the bar. And my mom was there. And when kids would start yelling at each other, she'd go and grab them by the ear and drag them out in front and lecture them about being Christian, about being good to each other and being kind to each other and loving one another. And nobody ever confronted my mom, because they knew that was suicide in the bar, because then it didn't matter who you're fighting, that the entire bar would just... When they first came in, we owned Friar Tuck's and 4400 Club. We were the big boys on the block. 4400 Club was in the top 50 clubs in the United States in Playboy magazine, and Friar Tuck's was one of the top 100 live music venues in Guitar magazine. I mean, we're famous clubs. We had lots of, great business, and plus it was the place to be. I mean, we were. And plus, if they knew me, I would hand out free passes, like, to all the people in there. Everybody who was cool, I'd give them free passes, and then when they came in, they'd see me behind the bar. That's how I made so much money. That's why I always liked working over there, because I got it. It was a cycle.
I guess, what was it like having to surrender your businesses because of the eminent domain?
It was terrible, actually. It came at a pretty good time for our family, because that was right when my brother was getting in trouble, and they wanted me to run all three restaurants, and I was going through school, and I was married at the time to my first wife, and it was just a lot of pressure. So my dad didn't want to move, and we were fighting it, stalling it more than fighting it. And then the guys came in, and they made us a reasonable offer. We made a counter offer. They offered us about 50 cents on the dollar. And we made a counter offer for about 70 cents on the dollar, and he took it. with very little money down, and they made payments. And it really wasn't that terrible. The whole idea is that it's really not fair that the city can just come in and tell you. And they picked who was going to be the winners and the losers of the businesses. Like Old Dominion was supposed to give them until 2002, but they didn't. They wound up kicking them out in 99. They closed the places down. So we owned them for about 10, 11 years. And then the new owners owned them for about 4 years after that. And then they got closed down. But all those restaurants had already been there for 20, 25 years before we bought them.
Yeah.
So they were established. They were part of the Old Dominion culture. The worst part about it is tearing down a business to put up the Ted Constant for the university is one thing. And that's cool. I mean, I understand the need for the government to seize land for roads and things like that. But they didn't just do that. They took businesses and houses and people's homes and tore them down and let other businesses take that land and build their own rental properties and their own businesses without giving the current owners the opportunity to be the person to do that.
Yeah, because now all down Monarch Way is businesses and
ODU's the landlord, but they did not give the businesses that were already there an opportunity to open up their own businesses there. ODU wanted to dictate. They used it as carrots for other franchises like Raising Cane's and that fancy Mexican restaurant that's right on the corner, Italian restaurant, whatever, that's right on the corner, and then there's a Boar's Head or something down there too. All those businesses were all people that petitioned ODU for the right to do it. They didn't give the businesses that were already there an opportunity to do that. Those contracts were already signed. So when those businesses got torn down, Old Dominion built these beautiful brand new restaurants and gave them to other businesses without giving the people that were already there an opportunity to bid on them. And that's where I have the problem, is that they picked the ODU, the city picked the winners and the losers, and the people that had been there for decades, their whole lifetimes, weren't given any credence to their culture, to their history, to their commitment to the university and to Norfolk. They were just told they have to leave. We're bringing in new people. We want to change the face. We want to change the look of Old Dominion.
That strips history, but your personal life as well.
Oh, it changed everything. I thought I was going to be there for the rest of my life. When it all went away, and I wasn't a big shot anymore, and I wasn't popular anymore, I didn't have anything to offer all these people, that's when you find out who your real friends are. And that's when, that's why I was still friends with Chuck and Justin and Kevin and Danny. Those are my real friends. Those are the ones that stuck around, that never left. And Mark. Those are the people that never left, that hung out with me because they liked hanging out with me, not because I had something to offer. And that's when I met your mom. I didn't have anything to offer her other than my companionship. I didn't have anything. And we've been together 25 years now. So it was the best thing that ever happened to me. At the time, I was bitter. But if it didn't happen, you and Andrew probably would have never existed.
What about Nick?
Nick would have never existed. I forgot about it.